In a world without a world, and then all of a sudden, there is a world. Where would we be without ours? We wouldn't be anything. Thank God for evolution, but dunce. My name is Malachi Schaefer, and please join me while I talk to you about the history of the entire world in Ark Survival Evolved. In the beginning of the Precambrian timeline, magma oceans covered the Earth, with only small masses of land beginning to form. Extremely harsh conditions made it hard for life to exist. With no food, water, or oxygen to spare, the only life were small little bacteria called stromatolites. Stromatolites create oxygen, and they do this by harvesting the sun's energy. As they absorb the sunlight, they are able to break down the chemical bonds of water. At the end of the cycle, oxygen would be created. During this time period, the Earth was pummeled with meteors, and some people believe that during this galactic attack, a piece of the Earth was broken off. Millions of years later, the Earth had healed, and this chunk of Earth would repair itself. This piece of Earth is believed to be our moon, caught in our gravitational pull. Earth's very first supercontinent, Rodinia, was also formed 1.1 billion years ago, and it broke apart into smaller continents around 700 million years ago. Around 540 million years ago, complex life exploded on Earth. A theory to this? If you believe the snowball Earth theory, then you believe that the entirety of the Earth's surface was frozen at some point. Some people believe that what melted this ice was underwater volcanoes. The Cambrian time period held lots of important first steps for Earth. First, we see complex life explode. Everything living resides in the ocean because of the hazardous situation above water. Some of these creatures that we see are arthropods, sponge, and other soft-bodied organisms, like jellyfish, which are the only creatures from this time period that are in Ark. Besides trilopods, like this cute little guy. I named him Danny, after Danny DeVito, because they're both short and cute. I like Danny. I hope nothing bad happens to Danny. No, Danny! In the Ordovician time period, there was a massive extinction event due to the supercontinent Gondwana moving south towards the poles and becoming glaciarized. 49% of the animals alive met their fate. In the Silurian time period, parts of Gondwana move away from the polar regions and warm up. As the Earth's heating up, the Arctic begins to melt and raises the ocean levels. The life in this time period becomes more advanced. Fish with jaws appear, and insects appear on land. In this time period, seed-bearing plants began to appear, and the first forest was formed later on in this time period. 374 million years ago, there was a massive extinction event which took place, where 70% of marine animals died, and the reason for this was the Earth cooling down. Whenever the Earth cooled down, it dropped the temperatures in the water, causing a lot of the animals living there to freeze to death. In the Mississippian time period, the Earth begins to heat up again. Shallow oceans are present on most of the continents. Winged insects are still around. There's more diversification in plants, and mammals come. In the Pennsylvanian time period, the warmer period persists. Massive swamps start to form on land masses, and reptiles, giant amphibians, and conifers begin to exist. In the Permian time period, reptiles begin to dominate in desert areas. Pangea is completely formed and conifers diversify. Pangea has desert-like conditions on the inside of it, and around 250 million years ago there was a possible meteor strike. We don't know if that happened, but we do know that there was a massive volcanic event in Siberia, which caused the oxygen levels to drop down to 12%. This is the biggest extinction event of all time, where 90% of ocean creatures and 70% of the land plants and animals died. Man, it is so hot out here. I feel like my skin's burning off. I need to try to find some water, man. Where could I find some water? Ah, it's so hot. What? Is that a floating snake? Hello? What are you doing? But Mr. Snake, it's Ark's fault that I couldn't turn this in on time. And my slow internet, which literally took days to do the update. Well, Mr. Coral, I don't know what to say, man. I mean, it's Titanoboa. What you gonna do? In the Triassic period, reptiles dominate the landscape and the Earth is still heating up. Ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs dominate the sea, and both those animals are in Ark. It's just, I could only get close to one of them without dying immediately. So here's an ichthyosaur. It's basically like a really old dolphin. And besides that, Pangaea is breaking apart, and massive volcanism in modern-day Atlantic Ocean is separating the continents. The Jurassic period. On your screen right now is a Stegosaurus, and that is a dinosaur that you could expect to find during this time period. The Earth is much warmer, and dinosaurs rule the land. Land and aerial dinosaurs, conifers, and primitive palm trees are all things that you could expect to see during this time period. And Pangaea is still separating in the Jurassic period. In the Cretaceous period, the Earth is much hotter. Dinosaurs continue to rule the land. Now we see massive carnivorous dinosaurs like a T-Rex, and the modern mammals that we see today are first starting to make their appearance. Antarctica detaches from Gondwana and starts to move south. South America detaches from Africa, and the Atlantic Ocean begins to form. 67 million years ago, massive volcanic eruptions, called Deakin Traps, happened. 65 million years ago, a meteor impact happened, where 70% of all species died off.